Hi, I'm Bot.Recoil, and for the people that don't know, I'm a student in applied psychology and I'm a gamer in my spare time. I decided to use my knowledge about psychology to help you get more enjoyment and get better in Rainbow Six Siege. Today's topic will be learning. It's a pretty big topic, so bear with me. Learning, what is it? What are the keys to effective and efficient learning, and how can you make use of this knowledge in your daily Siege games? Trying to predict your enemy is hard. Of course, but if you really think about it, you'll know some basic spots on the map where usually an enemy will be playing, or where you can be spawn picked from. How do we know this? And more importantly, what can we learn from this knowledge? Let's first define what learning is. The learning is the lasting change in behavior or mental processes as the result of an experience. So for example, you're afraid of Clash because you've had a game where you got slammed and the main thing you remember of that game is that you died because there was this crazy lady zapping you with a shield and screaming at you, "You fucking muppet." This is a lasting change in behavior. When you see the Clash on the enemy team, you're already like, oh fuck, we should have banned her. Because she could be the reason you're going to lose this game. Now let's say you get a jump scare because of Nox standing next to you when you least expected it. This is just a reaction, which means that feeling will fade away in time. You don't make this connection between Nox and her ability and dying, but you do make this assumption about Clash, which makes you ban Clash, but not a Nox. It's pretty weird, isn't it? If you think about it. You could also use Jekyll in this example. You get tracked, you die. Every time there's a Jekyll on the enemy team and you get tracked, you're already like, ah, damn, there is someone coming to kill me, which makes you want to ban him every game. How are these examples defined within psychology? If you take the Clash example, there are two things at play: operant conditioning and punishment. Operant conditioning has to do with positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is that there will be a positive effect after a certain behavior. For example, you win the round on attack after you ban Clash. So the behavior is banning Clash, and the reinforcement is a one round on attack. A negative reinforcement is not as common as I'd like to think, but it's basically removing a negative stimulus as the result of certain behavior. So a common example nowadays in Siege is having your sound reverted, and after restarting the game it's fixed. So the negative stimulus is here the reverted sound, and the restart is the behavior, which makes that negative stimulus go away. Now there's also this punishment. There are also two ways of punishment: positive punishment and negative punishment. With positive punishment there will be an added negative stimulus. For example, you did not ban Jekyll, starting on defense, you get tracked and die. That's even adding two factors: being tracked and dying. Now, negative punishment is indeed that something positive gets removed. So, for example, your speed when you walked in barbed wire and as attacker, or the removal of HP when being zapped by Clash. These theories explain how we learn from our own behavior, from our own mistakes, which is where I'm making my point. If you don't know you're making mistakes, you can't learn from them. Even so, when you do something the right way, if there is no reinforcement afterwards. So, how can we solve this? For console gamers this might be harder or more expensive than PC gamers, but in the next update of Rainbow Six Siege there will be a replay system. I advise you, if you really want to become better, to start to record your own gameplay and reviewing yourself, what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, and asking the question why, and start to think of alternative ways to do things. If you can't think of yourself of alternative ways, we can watch that others play the game. This is where social learning comes in. Social learning is basically learning new things or other skills from observing how others do it. So for example, the angle plays from Coconut Bra explains how to get the angle set up and shows you how to do it, which will help you get it done yourself. But copying sense or settings from other players is also explained from this theory, because you see some insane plays from that one pro, and the thing you literally see is their aim. You want to be capable to do the same, so you copy their sensitivity. This can be a very efficient way to learn new things. So when you just started playing Siege, copying sense isn't really a bad thing. But as I explained in my past video about confidence, is that it's important to find the one way of playing that works for you, so find your own way to play games. Now there's also this weird way of learning that I can't really explain how it works or how to make sure you get this kind of learning more often. It's called insight learning. This way of learning refers to a sudden realization of the solution of any problem without repeated trials or continuous practices. To further elaborate, insight learning is the type of learning in which you use previous experience, and it also seems to involve a new way of perceiving logical and cause and effect situations. Insight is an awareness of the important relationships between cause and effect, which comes after assembling the relevant information and having an open mindset of the possibilities. Learning through such insight is called insight learning. This is mainly why Macy J is known for. He comes up with these seemingly random ideas that just work out really well, without even trying if it works first. It just works the first time. Now, let's talk about map knowledge. Map knowledge is a real phenomenon within psychology. It has been even found within rats. It's basically proven that you can picture surroundings like rooms in your house. This map knowledge also helps you to walk around in the dark in your own house, to sneak to the fridge in the middle of the night. It's why some people can walk through certain hallways in Rainbow Six Siege when they're flashed. They have this mental representation of the surrounding. So, how do you refine this map knowledge? Simply said, by observing and playing the game. And, well, now the big part, what people really want to know. How can you predict enemy movement? There's no secret trick that can help you with this. It's a combination of multiple factors. It's about knowing the routes, how the map is set up, what are your past experiences. Are there moments you predicted it right and ask yourself, how? If you predicted it wrong, ask yourself, how? Don't go around and blame the enemy for being on that one spot you did not think someone would be. Trying to predict enemy movement is mainly about knowing the map. What are the different routes a person can take from point A to point B, and how much time will pass if this person takes a different route? If you want to be more spot on, you have to know where the enemy is at the first time, so draw him out. Know that people don't usually stay on the same spot, so know the different routes a person could have taken. It's that simple, but at the same time complex if you have to think about all of these factors in a short period of time. This is where experience will make it easier. Play the game more and you'll understand the map better, what common rotations are, where people generally like to hide, what strong spots are to play in, how to get people out of those strong spots. However, in these moments it's important to keep that awareness that you made a mistake, or what you did right, to keep that positive reinforcement or that punishment. Because that's the way how you learn. If you know what your mistake was, you can fix that by putting your focus there, to make sure you don't get punished by that same mistake again. If you eliminate all the mistakes you're making, you'll become, of course, a better player. When you have trouble with quick thinking, you might want to think about the route you're going to take as an attacker, or thinking of your route as a defender in the prep phase. Where can I go if this or that happens? This will make it easier to make split-second decisions, because you've already thought of some possible and most common situations. If this video raised any questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comment section below. I'll try to answer them all. If you liked the video, smash that like button and consider subscribing to not miss any future videos. Thanks for watching.